Here's the thing, if you miss on some of these structural upgrades on a new construction home, you might hate that home before you ever even move in. I don't want that to be the case for you. So today I want to give you maybe a couple more options to consider. Like, these are, in my opinion, things you should strongly consider doing on the structural side of your home if you're building new construction from like a production builder, and probably a couple things to avoid. And I'm just going to be honest with you, in my avoid stack, there's a few things that y'all might hate me for, and we'll get there, but they're my opinion, and I'll tell you why I have those opinions. So we haven't met before. My name is Zach. My team and I, we sell new construction real estate here in the DFW market. That's all we do. So whether you're buying from a builder's inventory or building from the ground up, whether you're here or trying to get here, we want to help with that. And so as somebody who sells somewhere between 50 and 75 new construction homes a year and does several design appointments and structural meetings with clients, these are the things I would tell you that if I was building again, that I would strongly consider making sure we get in there. And then a couple things that I would strongly probably consider avoiding, and reasons why we would avoid them. So this is not, I'm gonna tell you right now, this is not gonna be like design and like colors and things like that. We'll do that in a totally separate video. This is strictly just the structural options of your home. And the reason I think these are so important is because these are ones that are super hard to change later, right? So let's make sure we get this right. And again, if we don't get them right, I think you're gonna be in trouble, maybe disappointed down the line. So my number one thing on my list is a third car garage. Now, if you have to have a lot that's big enough to let you put a third car garage in it, which means you've got to be at least at a 55 or 60 foot lot when you're looking at these production builders, right? So if you're anything smaller than that, there's no way you're getting a third car garage in there unless they figured out how to do a 3-car tandem, which is probably not likely on those lots. But if you can, if you have the space, if your city and your neighborhood allows it and the builder offers it as an option, I would strongly consider adding that third car garage. We did it when we built a home 4 years ago. I was hesitant to do it. And now, if I'm honest, I will never buy another house without at least 3-car garage spaces. And truthfully, I'd love to have more, 4 or 5 or like a whole, but that's a whole other thing. So if you have the space, it's not going to be cheap on a third car bay. It's probably going to be somewhere between $12,000 and $19,000 or $20,000, depending on the builder, depending on how they do it. But I would strongly consider adding it just for the storage space, or if you're thinking future, like, hey, we have kids, you want that space to be able to do that. And it's not really a thing that's easy to do later. Now, I will tell you the challenge with garages, at least in my opinion right now, is they have not scaled with the size of vehicles we drive, right? So like, I drive a full-size pickup. My garage like barely fits my truck, and that's like me getting like perfectly in, and it like, you know, butt to butt touching the sides, and like we can't store anything else around it. So it's got to fit perfect. So I wish builders had the options to make garages bigger. So one, third car garage. 2, if they have the option to make it bigger on the depth side, if you can get to 22 or 24 feet, this, you know, on the depth side, do that, especially if you drive a bigger vehicle or a full-size pickup or anything like that here in Texas, which is what a lot of people do. But third car garages, I think, are 100% worth the upgrade on the actual bay. Now, if there's an option on your plan to where you add a third car tandem, so it's like 2 in the front and then 1 in the back, that one's a little bit harder for me. Like, there are some plans, like Highland does a really good job. Highland and Perry have a ton of plans that have like a 3-car tandem standard, and then you don't necessarily end up losing something. There are other times that you see those plans and you can get the third car garage, but it takes away a bedroom or it takes away a media room. I'm a little bit more hesitant on those ends. If you can find the plan that has the 3-car tandem standard, go with that. And if there's a chance to add the 4th car bay, I would 100% do that. If it's taking away a bedroom or a bonus space, I would kind of question it a little bit, but I would try and get a 3rd car garage if I had the lot space and had the budget that allowed for it. Number 2. Second one I would strongly consider would be an 8-foot. So this is kind of a 3-parter. So we're an 8-foot door. So like an 8-foot entry door for sure. And then 8-foot doors throughout the entire house, right? So standard doors inside of a home are like 6'8" or something like that. If you move them up to an 8-foot door casing, especially if you're on a 1-story and you have 10, 12, 13-foot ceilings, seeing 1-story homes that have 12-foot ceilings with 6-foot doors feels super weird to me. There's something about those 8-foot doors, I think, that just adds an elegant feel to it, and it makes the home feel really, really nice. It's usually not a super expensive upgrade, but it is a structural upgrade. So 8-foot doors throughout the entire home. If you have a 2-story home, most of the time the option will be 8-foot on the entire first floor. A lot of builders don't do them on their second floor. Some of them might, if you have enough of the, like on the headroom side, they'll let you. But for sure, 8-foot doors all on your downstairs, or if you're doing a 1-story and you have high ceilings, 8-foot doors throughout. Some communities do it as a standard feature, like as you move up kind of in that higher price point. Some of them do not, but if they don't, I would go do that for sure. In the interior. Secondly, I would consider an 8-foot door on the exterior for the same reason. I think it gives that nice appeal as you're walking in, and it just really adds an upper tier of, I don't know, elegance, I guess. And once you see, like, I'm sitting in my office looking at an 8-foot door right there, and it's like once you see those in a home, and then you see the same floor plan that doesn't have them, it feels so, I don't know, so weird, and it feels like something's missing. So do the 8-foot doors. The third piece of this is kind of a little bit more obscure one. So most builders don't use a solid core door on their interior doors. Most of them use like those hollow core ones, right? There's a few builders, like, you know, for Highland, for example, in some of their higher end neighborhoods, so the Sandbrook Ranch, the Mosaics, the place like that, some of those have standard solid core doors, and it helps a ton with sound throughout the whole house. So if you've got young kids, or you've got a playroom, or you're trying to get some private mom and dad time, you know, there's something about those solid core doors. So if, in my opinion, structurally 8-foot doors throughout, 8-foot entry door, and if there's an option to upgrade to a solid core door everywhere, I would consider doing that too. Number 3, I would consider in some of the secondary bathrooms as a structure upgrade, removing the tub and going to a shower pan instead of a tub. So you know, like in a normal secondary bathroom, you've got the tub insert down at the bottom and then the shower head, and you step into the tub, right? Well, there's an option where you take and then in your primary, you know, you have your standalone shower. I would consider in some of my secondary bedrooms removing the tub and going to a stand-up shower. I think it gives it a nice look. It's got it opens up the palette a little bit for when you get into design to do customizations. There's 2 levels to this usually. Level 1 is like, hey, acrylic, like the white pan at the bottom. And then level 2, which is usually the more expensive upgrade, is the one that they cut into the foundation, and it's like the drop-in's the wrong word, but it's like cut down through the foundation. Those do get pricey. I would definitely do that in my primary bathroom so that you could do the really fun tiles at design on the bottom. But I think I would strongly look at taking out tubs, at least in a couple of bathrooms. And now maybe my sentiment will change when we have kids. So like we don't have kids, and I'm like, oh, we'll just, we'll buy a tub on Amazon and figure it out that way, or use the big tub in our bathroom. Maybe that feels different. And if you have kids, you're like, no, we have to have a tub. Let me know about it down below. I'm curious. But again, my opinion, I would rather have the showers for the look, for the ability to clean them. They're so much easier to clean. And if we needed a tub, we could get a little portable tub thingy to put in there. And like I said, maybe my opinion changes one day, but for now, I would say remove the tubs and get the structural upgrade to the showers. Next one, spend some money. Do the structural upgrade for the patios, right? If the builder has let's just say your standard patio is like a 10 by 12, and then they give you an extended patio and it's like 10 by 16. It's like, well, that really doesn't feel like a big upgrade. But if they add in like you go to like a 20 by 20 patio, or it makes a massive upgrade and it's covered, I would really consider that. I think it does well on the resale side. And if you're going to spend time outside, you want to have usable space, right? Especially if you're thinking, oh, we're going to go get the gazebo after the fact, or we're going to, we were going to do this anyway. If the builder gives you a usable space that makes sense, it is going to be pricey to upgrade those patios, but I would do patio upgrades on the outside. The other one, this is kind of a secondary piece of this. If you don't want to do that, or if you don't want to budget for that, or if the plan you're picking doesn't have that option, consider as a structural upgrade allowing the builder to pour additional concrete as flat work for you to do, like, hey, we want a fire pit, or we want a grill or outdoor kitchen. Most of the time, builder pricing on just flat work concrete is fairly competitive, and they'll do it at cost, somewhere, but usually what I've seen with a lot of our clients is somewhere in that neighborhood of $10 to $13 a square foot. And it's done, and you don't have to worry about it when you move in. The best part about that is it means, so in North Texas, most builders give full sod irrigation. It means those sprinklers are already routed around where that addition was put in. So if you go in after the fact and you're trying to put concrete, you're gonna have to have the sprinkler guy come in and cap sprinkler lines and move things around. So I would consider upgrade the patio for sure, as long as it adds actual upgraded space. If it doesn't, consider adding additional concrete with your builder as a structural upgrade to give you more usable space in your backyard. And I think it helps along on the back end for resale. Next one, considerations, if it's possible. So these two will kind of go together. If there's an option to add a powder bath, so like the half bath with just the toilet and the sink, I would do that. And if there's an option to make it so that your bedrooms have their own en-suites, so no shared bathrooms out in the hallway, maybe Jack and Jill could be okay in some instances, but if there's options in there to add the own bathrooms into a bedroom, I would do that for as many of those bedrooms as your budget allows. It gives your kids or your guests kind of their own space. It makes sure that your guests, when they're visiting, are not going into people's bedrooms, assuming you add that powder room. And I think another one of those ones that helps on the resale, and you're not going to be able to make this change later, right? So any spots where you can add additional bathrooms or give bedrooms their own en-suites, I think are a great value structurally to add to your plan. So before I give you the next one, I do want to tell you, if you're looking, you're like, Zach, I don't even know, I want to know where to look for new construction homes, and I'm tired of being on Zillow, and I'm tired of Redfin and all those things. I got it. It's okay. We built you a resource on our website. There's a QR code right behind me on screen. Scan it if you're watching on TV, because a lot of you are watching us on TV, which is awesome. If you're watching it on your phone, finish the video and then go look. But if you want to browse just new construction homes, and you want to look at floor plans, or you want to look at communities, or you want to look at inventory, there's a resource there. You go to the website, you click DFW, hot new construction deals, click it and drop it down, and you can search specifically by builder. You can search by floor plan. All the good stuff is there. And you don't have to look at the mess of the resale market. You only have to look at new construction. And then we can start talking about the best ways to get you into your new home. So check it out right there for you. Boom, bada bing, boom. Structural upgrades to consider. I like adding media rooms, game rooms, bonus rooms. There's a few builders that'll do a 1-story, and then they add in a 1.5 story that adds a game room and a half bath. Those are usually probably the most expensive upgrades on their sheet, right? Because it adds so much square footage space to those homes. But if you have the opportunity to do that, A, for spaces of how you want to use it, I think it's beneficial. But B, on the resale side, people love having those extra living spaces or those game rooms or the media rooms. It'll kind of do well on the resale space. So all of these things I'm giving you, also consider them in tension with what is your budget and how are you going to live in that house, right? So the way we designed our house is probably very different than some other people would, but we designed it for how we wanted our home to function and flow for our lifestyle. And we spent the money on things that made the most sense for us. And that's ultimately what I want you to do if I'm advising you as you, my client. I'm saying, hey, do what makes the most sense. But here's the things, if we're spending money, spend them on these things. Bonus rooms, so like I said, bonus spaces, game rooms, media rooms, secondary livings, all of those things, super good options. We already talked about powder baths. I told you add those because you don't want your guests pooping in your kid's bedroom. Not actually, but you know what I mean? You want those spaces that can be used just as guest spaces if you're entertaining. A couple more things to consider, and then I'll give you my avoid list that I think may be a little bit controversial with some people. Elevation. So people often forget about the elevation choice. So elevation is what you see when you approach the home from the street, right? And so you'll have one floor, and this is how builders can do, several floor plans in a neighborhood, and it makes the neighborhood all look different. So it'll be elevation P, Q, R, S, 22, whatever. And there's 4 or 5 different elevations depending on the choice. Those do change the cost. So you'll have whatever, for a lot of builders, standard is A, and then B goes to the modern farmhouse, or it goes to the modern Dutch, or it goes to the traditional, or it goes to whatever, right? You're gonna pay a couple different options on that. So you're gonna pay to do the upgrade. to change the elevation because it changes what it looks like structurally from the front. Doesn't change anything on the floor plan, just change what it looks like on the front. Get that right, because you're not changing that one later either. So you're gonna pay for the upgrade, and then you have brick selection, and depending on how they price brick and depending on if you upgrade or do painted, you'll pay for that. And then if you pick an elevation, that has like the stone or the river rock, which ones of those you pick, depending on how high you go, you will pay. So you potentially have 3 costs on the elevation choice. So you want to get this one right. It's your drive up, it's your curb appeal, more of those modern looks, modern farmhouse. Those are really on right now. A lot of builders have these like farmhouse style looks that have, the metal roof overhangs and the shades and the shutters. And if you like it, go with it. That's what I'm just going to tell you. But make sure you're thinking about that, because what is the standard option is honestly most of the time people are like, I don't really like the standard option, and then they get the sticker shock. I mean, we're talking anywhere $2,500, $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 in some cases, depending on the builder. So make the right choice on your elevation, because it's what you're going to see every time. And you want it to stand out a little bit, but you don't want it to stand out like a sore thumb, right? So if your neighborhood is full of traditional and modern farmhouse, and then all of a sudden you decide to go ultra contemporary, well, you might have a little trouble on the resale side. Just putting that out there. All right, last 2 on the upgrades is if you're looking for something that is very in right now that people seem to love, and I understand it because we personally did it even with the stupid amount of cost for it, is the black windows, right? So many people love that look of those black, the exterior windows, and they make a home pop, especially if you're going with that whiter brick, and it looks good, but it is, and you're like, why is it more expensive? I have no idea. Window companies struggle to make black frames, I guess. I don't know. Every time I ask, they're like, well, it just kind of is. And it's across every single builder, Highland, Perry, Grant, Pacesetter, Bloomfield, all of them. The black windows are more expensive. So if you're in the window company and you can tell me why black windows are more expensive, I'd love to know. But I think it's worth it. It adds a very nice look to your home. But you need to know, most of the time, this is pro tip, most of the time only the exterior frames are black, which means your interior frames are still going to be either like that sand or tan or white, depending on the window company. Occasionally they'll let you go to a black on black exterior interior, but most of the builders, it is only an exterior black and an interior, it stays the normal color. Last one on my upgrades is a structural upgrade, is the kitchen, right? So you see a plan, and a lot of times on the standard plan it's like a combined oven and range, like it's one singular appliance like slid into the wall. And then the upgrade is the cooktop and then the built-ins on the side, like the oven stacked with microwave, whatever. I think those are upgrades that are worth it. I think they function better, and it is helpful on the resale side, and it makes your home look more elegant. So those are the things that, like, hey, on a $400,000 home, it makes it feel very more expensive. It makes it feel like you spent more than you did, right? If we're north of 500 or 600, in my opinion, you should not have a standard like slide in. Like it should be separated. I think that especially what buyers are looking for, and if you're on the resale side. So spend the money in those structural upgrades, and I think you will do well. From a ballpark perspective, I always try and tell clients all in, like including your structure and your design. So all the pretty stuff that goes in after the structure is picked, because structure is going to most likely be picked at the time of your contract. You're probably going to spend somewhere between 12 and 17% of base price, right? So like for math's sake, let's just say the base price of your home is $475. So that's the base price in the neighborhood you're looking at, and you're going to spend 17% of that. You're probably going to spend roughly an additional $80,000 before we talk about any design incentives from the builder. And that'll probably put you right in the midpoint of your neighborhood. Not too much, not too little. But yeah, 12 to 15% all in on top of base is usually what most of our clients is what we see that they spend. Now, things that we will avoid, and I might catch some heat for these. Number one, I would avoid, I know they're super popular, I know they're trending, I know everybody on TikTok and Instagram has them in their homes, but I think I would avoid the pot filler over the kitchen cooktop. It's one, in my mind, it's one more plumbing source that could go wrong, one more place to cause a leak. And let's be honest, how often are you actually going to use it? It is a expensive upgrade. It's usually a couple $1,000s with a lot of builders. That I think it looks pretty and everybody wants it because it's on trend, but I don't know, like, functionality, like just pick it up and just whatever. I think you could spend money elsewhere. I would avoid it. Like, I mean, if you want to do it, that's fine. I'm not gonna like strongly talk you out of it. I just think there's better ways to spend your money than on a pot filler in your kitchen. Second one I would avoid is a lot of builders are doing these massive like 3 and 4 panel sliders in living rooms and dining rooms. And they're super pretty. You see them in all of their model homes because they're trying to show them off. I would avoid them because we live in freaking North Texas. And looking at my thing today it's like 90. It is 99 and feels like 103. You ain't opening those sliders unless you've got a massive covered patio and some, like, you're just not. Like, they look pretty, but I think you lose, like, in that you lose wall space, and I don't know if they're functional for, you know, normal living in a home. Model homes, absolutely. Secondly, they're expensive. I have not seen a builder yet that does them for less than $10,000, and most of them it's almost 20 to do them and get them put in. And thirdly, most of them do the ones that like slide, like it's like one and then slide and then slide. I think I like the ones that do like the accordion. So if you find a inventory home from a builder that has it and you're not having to pay for it, yeah, take it. But if you're having to spend the money on it, if we're in Texas and it's hot and we have bugs like really big mosquitoes, I don't think you're going to open those doors. And then you got to figure out how to put curtains on them and block out the sun. Expensive. And I'm out on the sliding doors. Some people love them. I think I would avoid them, and I would spend money. If you said, hey, you could have a sliding door or you could have an extended patio, I would take the extended patio. If I could have a sliding door or a 3-car garage, I would take the 3-car garage. 3-car garage or an extended patio, that one's hard. I think I would take the garage and I'd figure out the patio situation later, but would avoid sliding doors. Number 3 on my list of avoids would be the built-in like tech niches or workspaces. You'll see this in a lot of like 2-story homes. Like, it's the upstairs and they're like building in like work desk areas, and it's like, oh, this is for your kids to do their homework. And it's like, that's really cool, but you know your kids ain't doing homework there. Like, they're gonna end up sitting on the floor underneath the kitchen table because that's like what they do. And like, you're like, oh, you have all these grand ideas for it. You're not gonna use it. Like, don't like use that space for something else. Go to IKEA, get a desk. Don't pay for the tech niches or pocket office thing. Like, I don't think you're gonna use it, and it feels like wasted space. Number 4 on my things to avoid. This one probably catch me some heat. I think I'm out on the fireplaces. I just don't think, I mean, it takes up a lot of space. They're expensive. So similar like what we're talking about on the exterior, like picking your elevation, you've got a lot of choices. So you're going to pick like a fireplace style, and then you're going to pick, you're going to pick a mantle, you got to pick a stone. And if you have a 2-story home and you want it to go all the way to ceiling, you've got to carry, like, you're going to pay the design to go, like, it's going to get very, very expensive very quickly. And it's like, they're pretty, but I don't think it's going to massively heat your home, right? And on a resale side, people are either, if they want a fireplace, like, they either love a fireplace or they're apathetic and they're like, oh, I really don't care. I just think they take up too much space. I think there's other options. There's really great options now with like built-in electric ones or console tables or whatever. So I would avoid structurally the fireplace personally. I just wouldn't do it. Like, it's something I would avoid. And my last one I would avoid is in your master bathroom. I would not do a freestanding tub unless it was a massive freaking freestanding tub. And that comes from me being a big dude. Like, that's just more of like a practical sense of like, when we built our house, we had the option of freestanding tub, standard tub, or upgraded non-freestanding tub. And I was like, well, I just want the one that I fit in. And I want to fit in it comfortably. And so we didn't go to the freestanding tub. Also, practically speaking, like, means I don't have to clean around it because the tile's all around the top of it. And and you're not trying to clean up behind it. They're pretty. They look nice in models. They show well on Instagram. Just give me the big tub. Just give me the big one. Don't worry about it being freestanding. Just give me the big one. And I'll leave it at that. And then last one, if you've stayed this long, honorable mention on things that you should add because you need to do it structurally. Add the gas lines on, if you're in a gas neighborhood, add the gas line to your patio so you can hook up the grill or the fire pit or whatever. Have them do that now. Also, if you're doing that and you're thinking you're going to wire your home you're going to wire it for a generator, add a gas line wherever you're putting that generator. I made that mistake. We just built another house recently, and we have a generator hookup. I haven't had the generator yet, and I realized, I'm like, dang it, I should have added a gas hookup right over there so we could run it directly off of that. We didn't. So those are my honorable mentions. So if you have questions, maybe you're like, Zach, your list is stupid. We built a house, here's what we did, and here's what we avoided. I'd love to know down in the comments. Or if you're looking for help trying to build a home here in DFW and you need representation, we would love to help. Contact information, as always, is right in front of the little microphone right there. Here to help any way we can, answer any questions we can, and be a resource to you. I get you with the best builders, get you the best pricing, and make the deals work, which we're seeing a lot of right now. It's crazy. So let me know if I missed something. Those are my opinions. Appreciate you guys. See you in our next video. Bye for now.